Her name is Ada. She is 19 years old. She sits on a thin mattress in a small room in Kampala, Uganda. The air is thick with the scent of rain and unspoken grief. In her arms, she holds her newborn son, Joseph. He is perfect. His tiny fingers curl around hers. His eyes are dark and deep, but a shadow hangs over this small, beautiful boy. Joseph was born with HIV. This was not supposed to happen. Ada had done everything right. She had gone to the clinic. She had trusted the system. A system that promised her a healthy baby. A system that promised to protect her child from the virus she carries. That promise was broken. The clinic she attended used to be a beacon of hope. It was supported by foreign aid, specifically American aid. It provided free antiretroviral drugs to pregnant women. These drugs push the virus down. They make it undetectable. They make it untransmittable. Ada was on this treatment. Her viral load was suppressed. Her baby should have been born free of HIV, but then the funding stopped. The virus found its way into her son. The decision came swiftly in early 2025. The United States, under a new isolationist policy, announced a freeze on all non-essential foreign aid. The cuts were deep and indiscriminate. Among the hardest-hit programs was the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, known as PEPFAR. For over 2 decades, PEPFAR was the cornerstone of the global HIV response. It was a bipartisan success story. It saved millions of lives. In East Africa, its impact was monumental. It built clinics, it trained healthcare workers, it supplied the life-saving antiretroviral drugs that turned an HIV diagnosis from a death sentence into a manageable chronic condition. The aid freeze was justified with rhetoric about focusing on domestic issues. It was framed as America first. But for millions in countries like Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, it felt like a direct betrayal. The funding did not just stop for future projects. It halted existing life-sustaining operations. Shipments of antiretrovirals were canceled. Funding for laboratory equipment used to monitor viral loads was withdrawn. In a small village outside Kisumu, Kenya, Grace Atieno watches her grandchildren play in the yard. She is their sole guardian. Their mother, her daughter Lynette, died 3 months ago. Lynette was 28. She was HIV positive but had been healthy for years. She was a testament to the success of PEPFAR. She took her daily pill, she worked, she raised her children. Her viral load was undetectable. She was not infectious. She was living, not dying. Then the clinic ran out of her medication. The supply chain, once robust and reliable, had crumbled after the U.S. aid cuts. Lynette was given an alternative, but her body did not respond well. Her health declined rapidly. Lynette's death was the first wave of the tragedy to hit Grace's family. The second came with her youngest grandchild, a 1-year-old named Samuel. Lynette had breastfed him, confident that her undetectable viral load meant she could not pass the virus to him. This was the guidance she had received at the PEPFAR-supported clinic. It was safe. It was encouraged. Now Samuel is HIV positive. We are watching a nightmare unfold in slow motion. Dr. Esther Mwangi's voice is heavy with exhaustion. She runs a small clinic in a densely populated slum in Nairobi. For years, her clinic was a success story, a partner in the PEPFAR network. Now she calls it a house of ghosts. Every day, I have to look a pregnant woman in the eye and tell her that we do not have the best drugs to protect her baby. I have to tell a young man his viral load is climbing because his treatment is no longer working. These are conversations I never thought I would have again. It feels like we have gone back in time 20 years back to the days of despair. The practical challenges are immense. The funding freeze wasn't a tapering off, it was a cliff, Esther explains, her hands gesturing with frustration. We are forced to ration medication. The streets are no longer silent. Nairobi, Kampala, Dar es Salaam, they are filled with color, with noise, with anger. Thousands of people are marching. They carry signs written in English. They carry signs written in Swahili. My meds, my life. U.S. aid cuts equal death sentence. An AIDS-free generation is still possible. These are not professional activists. They are mothers carrying their babies. They are grandmothers who have buried their children. They are young people who have grown up in the shadow of HIV, but believed they were safe. They are nurses and doctors who have left their overwhelmed clinics to join the protest. Their collective voice is a roar of defiance and desperation. The protests are visually powerful. Before the aid freeze of 2025, the progress was undeniable. In Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, new annual HIV infections had dropped by over 60% since their peak. Mother-to-child transmission rates were plummeting, with some regions approaching the goal of complete elimination. Over 5 million people in East Africa were on life-saving antiretroviral treatment funded in large part by PEPFAR. Projections from the World Health Organization are catastrophic. They estimate that the U.S. aid cuts could lead to over 200,000 new HIV infections in East Africa in the next year alone. This includes an estimated 50,000 babies who will be born with the virus due to the collapse of PMTCT programs. The number of AIDS-related deaths, which had been in steady decline for over a decade, is projected to double. The gains of 20 years are being wiped out in a matter of months. This is a public health emergency of a scale not seen since the darkest days of the early 2000s. It is an avalanche. Every day that the funding is withheld, more people are infected, more people get sick, and more people die. In the face of systemic collapse, a powerful force is rising: community resilience. In the Kibera slum of Nairobi, a group of grandmothers has taken matters into their own hands. They call themselves the Shushus for Life. These women, many of whom have lost their own children to AIDS, have created an informal network to support young mothers and their babies. In rural Tanzania, motorcycle taxi drivers, known as boda boda riders, have organized a volunteer transport system. They give free rides to pregnant women and sick patients who can no longer afford the journey to a distant hospital. One driver, Juma, explained his motivation simply: "My sister is alive because of the clinic. The clinic is now far and the bus is expensive. If I have fuel in my bike, I can help another man's sister live." Dr. Ivan Okello in northern Uganda has started a mobile clinic from the back of his own car. He uses his own money to buy whatever basic medicines he can find. He drives to remote villages to check on patients who have been cut off from care. "I cannot abandon my people. I took an oath. This is more than a job. It is my community." The future of East Africa's HIV fight hangs precariously in the balance. The damage done by the 2025 aid freeze is real and it is deep. A generation of children is being needlessly infected. A generation of mothers is mourning preventable losses. The hard-won progress of 2 decades is unraveling at a terrifying speed. Ada Grace, Dr. Mwangi. The stories of Ada, Grace, and Dr. Mwangi are not isolated incidents. They are the human face of a policy decision that chose politics over people and budgets over lives. Yet amid the darkness, there are glimmers of light, the roar of public protest. They are a refusal to accept this new reality. They are a demand for dignity. The international community, other global powers, and private foundations must step in to fill the catastrophic gap left by the United States. For Joseph, the baby boy born with HIV,